Be vegan, make peace, do good deeds. Heaven Godspeed.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule.
The effects of climate change can be seen all around, from raging wildfires to catastrophic flooding. So far, the conversation has primarily been how to prevent it from getting worse.
Half of humanity is in the danger zone from floods, droughts, extreme storms, and wildfires. No nation is immune.
Extreme weather events in 2022 caused by climate change, Part 4 of 4. Continue watching to find out more.
Go ahead and order to kill in war so people can scream in front of you. In hell, you'll scream 10 billion times louder from pain and suffering.
Ahlan wa sahlan, sensible viewers. That means welcome in South Sudanese Arabic. My name is Amin. The virtuous people of Sudan pray that all human beings and our animal friends will soon live on a benevolent vegan planet after world leaders enact vegan laws to ensure everlasting peace on Earth. Welcome to our show, Extreme Weather Events in 2022, caused by Climate Change, Part 4 of 4. In the third part of this series, we examined major world earthquake events. On today's program, we'll highlight recent major hurricanes. Across the globe, hurricanes, typhoons, and cyclones are causing heavy rainfall, flooding, extreme winds, and tornadoes that threaten people's lives and property. As with many other natural disasters, climate change increases the frequency and intensity of hurricane activity. Under the current La Niña conditions, including weaker tropical Atlantic trade winds, an active West African monsoon, and warmer Atlantic sea surface temperatures, the U.S. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration expects an above-normal Atlantic hurricane season in 2022. Hurricane Bonnie was the first major hurricane of the 2022 Eastern Pacific hurricane season. It began as a tropical storm and strengthened into a Category 1 hurricane. Bonnie swept through Central America, leaving 4 deaths in Nicaragua and 1 in El Salvador. Tens of thousands of people across Nicaragua were left without power, and more than 10,000 homes had no water. While in El Salvador's capital, San Salvador, roads collapsed and cars were swept away. A month later, Hurricane Fiona swept through the Caribbean, then Bermuda, and finally passed directly over parts of Atlantic Canada, leaving significant damage. Puerto Rico was most severely impacted by Fiona. According to the National Hurricane Center, record rain poured down on the island as the hurricane passed by, with some areas receiving as much as 25 to 30 inches of rain, and many receiving 10 to 15 inches. The heavy rain triggered mudslides, flooded neighborhoods, extensively damaged homes and infrastructure, and left the entire island with more than 1.4 million customers without power and most of the island without water. Puerto Rico's health department reported at least 25 storm-related deaths. In the Dominican Republic, Fiona displaced 12,485 people, affected 3,000 homes, and killed at least one person. Significant power and water outages also occurred as Fiona moved away from land. Previously in Guadeloupe, Fiona brought heavy rainfall to the island, causing floods that severely damaged property and roadways. One death was reported as a house was swept away by water with the resident inside. Thousands were left without electricity. On its way to Canada, Fiona passed Bermuda as a powerful Category 4 hurricane, causing flooding and leaving most of the population without power. Fiona then hit Canada as the strongest storm in the country's history.
Tropical Storm Fiona has battered eastern Canada, leaving devastation in its wake. Houses were washed into the sea, and hundreds of thousands of people are left without power as winds up to 100 miles per hour bring down power lines. Emergency teams are already working to clear the roads of the huge amount of debris and fallen trees left in its wake. 2 women were reportedly swept into the ocean in Newfoundland. Port aux Basques on the southwest tip of Newfoundland bore the brunt of the storm. The mayor declared a state of emergency and evacuated parts of the town that were flooded.
Severe hurricanes rarely make their way to Canada, as these storms lose their energy once they hit colder waters in the north and become post-tropical. But as the sea temperature continues to increase, the region can expect to see stronger storms more frequently. In East Asia, Typhoon Hinnamnor hit Korea, killed at least 11 people, and caused severe damage. The majority of casualties were due to people being trapped in a flooded underground parking lot in the southern city of Pohang. The most powerful typhoon to hit Korea in years, Typhoon Hinnamnor's pouring rains flooded roads and buildings, caused a landslide, destroyed roads, and felled trees and power lines. Over 4,700 people were evacuated for safety, and approximately 12,000 homes and commercial buildings were destroyed or flooded. Nearly 90,000 households suffered power outages nationwide. Hinnamnor also damaged 3,815 hectares of farmland. Korea faces challenges due to the increased number of disasters it has experienced this year. Just weeks before Hinnamnor battered the country, heavy rain around the capital Seoul caused severe flooding and claimed 14 lives. This summer, Korea's neighbor Japan also got slammed by a powerful typhoon named Namado. The storm system dumped heavy rain, killed 4 people, injured 114, and left 140,000 homes without power nationwide.
I had animals as friends. They were happy to see me in their own animal way. I'm quite sure they did not want to be on my plate. Riza, vegan.
We'll take a moment now to pray for our world to turn to a benevolent vegan lifestyle and be back shortly. Please stay tuned to Supreme Master Television. Welcome back to our show, Extreme Weather Events in 2022, Caused by Climate Change, Part 4 of 4. In Southeast Asia, Typhoon Noru ripped through the Philippines and Olac, also known as Vietnam, leaving a trail of devastation. The Philippines reported that at least 11 people were killed, including 5 rescue workers washed away by an overflowing river while trying to evacuate residents. Noru forced more than 74,000 people to evacuate, directly affected 640,000, and caused serious damage to Philippine infrastructure and agriculture. Typhoon Noru then hit central Olac with heavy rain and strong winds, tearing roofs from homes, flooding roads, uprooting trees, and causing power outages. Hundreds of thousands of people fled for safety after receiving the government's warning. Meanwhile, in the Western Hemisphere, Hurricane Ian hit western Cuba before slamming into Florida and South Carolina in the United States. Ian struck Cuba with strong winds as a Category 3 hurricane, knocking out electricity to the entire island and leaving 11 million people in the dark.
In Cuba, the scope of Hurricane Ian's wrath is now visible. Towns are unrecognizable, buildings and homes completely flattened. At least 2 people died and thousands are homeless, like this family, now traveling on foot looking for somewhere to stay.
After leaving devastating damage in Cuba, Ian passed by the warm Gulf of Mexico, where it got the power to strengthen into a catastrophic Category 4 hurricane before making landfall at 150 miles per hour in Florida as one of the strongest hurricanes to hit the U.S. At least 73 people were confirmed dead in Florida, and 4 more deaths were reported in North Carolina. Ian left overwhelming amounts of destruction in Florida.
Ian making history as one of the top 10 strongest on record in the United States, shredding homes and swallowing entire neighborhoods in that record-breaking storm surge. The monster storm claiming several lives. One of the most hard-hit regions, Fort Myers Beach. Watch as storm surge rips this house off its foundation, carrying it away. Boats floating through a neighborhood.
Those 4 boats!
This time-lapse of the beach capturing the rush of the surge into the streets. That same spot after, demolished. All that's left, piles of debris. The Sanibel Causeway, impassable after being battered by the epic surge. The Coast Guard hoisting people trapped near the island.
In this neighborhood alone, there are hundreds of homes. You can see from our drone there that each of these took on at least 12 feet of water. They are all total losses. So many people losing their homes, not just in this neighborhood, but
there's a lot of cleanup to do. I mean, I know we lost everything, but mostly I'm just trying to keep that hope alive. Every moment, little victories. I can move this, I can remove this.
When we got inside his Geneva home, you can see just how flooded it is today. The couches, beds, fridge, everything in the house is underwater. Waves crashing into the windows.
We are inside someone's living room right now, and you could see over 2 feet of water. Just look outside at all of the floodwaters right behind their house. This is where they should be eating, watching TV, and it is completely flooded.
Skyfox drone shows just how much water there is on these residential streets in Seminole County. As far as we know from the neighbors, everyone in this area has evacuated as of last night.
I just can't imagine looking at your home like this.
We measured 4 feet of water in some areas of the roads. Debris is floating all over, and we saw an alligator on a log right in front of one of the homes. This is the main mode of transportation for residents.
Ian left more than 2 million people across Florida without power and impacted tens of thousands. Anki Research, a data firm that studies the financial impact of storms, estimated the economic damage caused by Ian could reach $65 billion. Ian was then downgraded to a Category 1 hurricane as it made landfall in South Carolina, but it continued to wreak havoc in that state and others on the East Coast. Ian caused flooding, destruction, and power outages, and left hundreds of thousands of people without electricity across the Carolinas and Virginia. Climate change is producing rising sea temperatures, record heat waves, and the accelerated melting of glaciers around the world. Greenland, the Arctic, the Alps, the Himalayas, and Antarctica are all experiencing the fastest glacial melting in recorded history. This year, we saw a mountain glacier in Chile's Patagonia region collapse. In addition, part of a glacier in Norway crumbled into the sea. Italy's Marmolada Glacier collapsed, killing 7 people. And melted ice from the Shishberg Glacier created a glacier lake outburst that flooded Pakistan. Scientists also issued a warning about Antarctica's Doomsday Glacier reaching the tipping point.
One of the largest glaciers in the world. It's a very unstable glacier, and our measurements show that it's becoming more unstable, and it's a real concern.
That's because the forces that have been in place are changing.
The Thwaites Glacier on land, here's this ice plug that's sitting on the sea floor, like building a concrete dam and holding a reservoir of water behind it, and it's being melted underneath by seawater coming in.
That's happening because ocean water temperatures around the Antarctic are 2 to 3 degrees above normal and accelerating the process.
Melting on the bottom from warmer water, melting on the top from sunlight, fracturing apart as it moves, and then calving off big pieces. So the thing is being destroyed by 3 processes, basically. If we melted the entire Thwaites Glacier, and this isn't going to happen overnight, we're talking a process that's getting started, global sea level would rise 2 feet.
According to a study conducted by the nonprofit group Climate Central, in addition to the increasing intensity of storm surges, flooding, and damage to coastal areas, rising sea levels could affect 4.4 million acres of land or 650,000 properties in the United States alone by the year 2050. With the sea level changes along the coastlines, many areas will no longer be habitable. For years, scientists have been warning us about deadly and destructive weather events and saying that we should be prepared for the worst-case scenario.
The effects of climate change can be seen all around, from raging wildfires to catastrophic flooding. So far, the conversation has primarily been how to prevent it from getting worse.
Half of humanity is in the danger zone from floods, droughts, extreme storms, and wildfires. No nation is immune.
But now a team of international experts led by Cambridge University says we should be prepared for failure.
Right now, I think we're being naive. We're not looking at the worst-case scenarios at all, really.
Researchers warn about what they call the 4 horsemen of the climate endgame: famine, extreme weather, conflict, and disease spread by insects. Scientists are urging world leaders to investigate possible outcomes ranging from a loss of 10% of the global population to eventual human extinction.
as the world faces more disastrous events caused by climate change. Supreme Master Ching Hai Vegan advises all of us to take immediate action to save our planet.
Saving the planet could seem an abstract idea, yes. But even though some of the signs of the global warming are more subtle, like species becoming extinct in places you and I cannot see, there are other signs, many that are really very real and sadly much easier to measure. Some that have been predicted with certainty by scientists, including increased heat waves, drought, storms, and spread of human illness. All of these are occurring to different degrees across the globe. At this most urgent time for the planet, I beseech your honorable graces to please help your country and our world spare lives from the impending global warming calamity. If you don't, there will be too massive a catastrophe, too immense a suffering upon people, families, the children, that our conscience might never be able to bear it. I can only honor you with the truth when I say that we must become vegan to save our planet. We cannot wait for the sustainable energy and green technology to be available and used by everyone. It would be too late.
Our deepest gratitude goes to Supreme Master Ching Hai Vegan for sharing her wisdom. We wish that all world leaders will realize the urgent crisis that our planet is facing and quickly enact vegan laws to halt climate change. May we soon have a vegan world where we all live happily with our animal friends.
All information concerning the scientific evidence of climate change and its solution is in Supreme Master Ching Hai's book, From Crisis to Peace, free for download at crisistopeace.org.
No to vegan, cause you don't care about anyone else except yourself.
Thank you for your company during today's show. Coming up next is Gwenna Hunter, Vegan, encouraging awareness and empathy for animal people, right after noteworthy news. May all beings be spiritually uplifted by the power of the divine.
Be vegan, make peace, do good deeds, hell not reach.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule and suprememastertv.com/PE.
Nos programmes offrent plusieurs langues. Veuillez visiter suprememastertv.com/schedule et suprememastertv.com/PE.
Nuestros programas ofrecen varios idiomas. Visiten suprememastertv.com/schedule y suprememastertv.com/PE.
برامجنا متوفرة بالعديد من اللغات. يرجى زيارة suprememastertv.com/schedule و suprememastertv.com/PE.